Because they saw, hey, BLG didn't pick it up last time around, we don't care. Or if they go back to banning the Nidalee, but ooh, this time around banning the Bard.
Yeah. With Zoe partnered in there. Renekton once again. So BLG's bans remain the same.
Yeah, bans are definitely the same, and I want to see where WE go with this last one. Do they ban the Cinder once again? Do they ban the Aphelios? The Nidalee was also what they banned in the first game.
Yep.
I feel like if you already put one ban towards Zoe, I was going to say just keep it consistent, go with the Cinder as well, because pinching his pool doesn't make sense if he's going to get something anyway.
FoFo laughs anyway and says, whatever, TF, first pick.
And I feel like this is a good plan because, once again, other than this and the Galio, what does he really have past the Karma?
We'll get the Nocturne mid again.
Hey, Nocturne Echo.
Yeah.
Let's go. There's a time to bring it back out, and this could be it.
The crazy thing is, for beishang, we haven't seen as much of his Echo as we did in the regular season of Spring.
I mean,
Only
to be
2
fair,
games.
the jungle meta's completely changed,
That's
right?
true.
Back then it was all Jarv and it was Elise and it was a lot of these early game, more gank-centric junglers. Now we've gotten a bunch of very tempo-based duelists who can come into Echo's jungle and really be a hindrance.
beishang has meant to switch up to things like the Graves Elise in, none of which have been picked up here. Instead, once again, WE with the priority on the Karma.
Well, just the same thing, right? And this is the thing is, WE don't have the luxury of going back and being like, well, guys, wipe off the chalkboard, we need a new plan. They're like, well, guys,
Change that bit of the chalkboard, everything else stays the same.
we only own one chalkboard, and we
No
wrote
one-
it with permanent marker. What do we do?
About to say, there's no eraser here. Permanent marker on a chalkboard, you fiend.
Hey, I feel like that's actually a really good example for
That's true.
WE's playstyle. That seems like what they would do.
I've just never seen someone write in permanent marker on a chalkboard.
Hey, but look at that man right there. Mr. Domo is the type of man who would do it.
He says, hey, we got a Volibear, so that's a bit of change.
Yes, it is. That's actually pretty big change because this was one of WE's big bans because, hey, we don't see... beishang's played it once. Morgan's played it once. This is not something that's really in the WE wheelhouse.
Okay. Well, one part of race. Nautilus going to be the ban as we move into the second phase. BLG have cemented their AD carry, but we still need supports for both teams. Remember, guys, Teacherma, mid lane, Karma. Expect that.
I also think it's massive that BLG were able to get the Ashe with the Nidalee because we've seen Nidalee really works hard, works well when you have, priorities and winning lanes to play through. And Ashe really sets up well for guaranteeing yourself a winning bot side matchup. We know that Twisted Fate's going to get pushed in extremely early on before, we can start hitting around level 5, level 6, get more points into his queue.
Sure.
But I want to see where WE go here. Like you said, support's going to be a big thing to watch out for because missing not exactly much of a Bard player, so can't really go towards, let's say what BLG did last time around. You definitely expect him more on the tankier frontline sort of pick. And I guess going back towards the Thresh, when you ban out the Leona Nautilus is all that's really left.
I think that worked really well for XinMo in that first game.
Yeah, and obviously pairs well with the Aphelios, we talked about many times.
Yep.
But once again, we know W are going to play this style that goes more through mid-jungle. I expect beishang to be on the Volibear, even though it is still potentially a flex pick. And we know Teacherma is just going to wait to buff up Jiumeng in these mid and late game team fights.
But Kingen has to pick a blind top here, even though we talked about, it could be a volley potential. But, okay, into the Wukong for Kingen.
Yeah, now all they have left is support. Tahm Kench would be pretty decent here since you're up against the Thresh. I feel like the two things they've hovered, Tahm Kench and Braum, are really the only good options you have.
Yeah.
I actually personally prefer Braum, especially you do have elements to a team fight in your comp with the Wukong as well as, Twisted Fate coming in with the gold card. But no, instead, just wanting to be able to escape that pick potential coming from missing death sentences.
All right. What do you want to see into the Wukong?
I feel like you just go back towards the... Oh, the Orange Band, actually. I don't actually feel like W have really any good options. Maybe just put the Volibear up in top lane and you pull out some sort of pressure jungler. This is something we used to have, remember?
It was seen as the counterpick to the Wukong.
Yep, especially after MSC.
Khan was the one playing it, right? He's the one who debuted it in MSC. And we saw that matchup for the first time and thought, okay, interesting theory as to how it works.
I'm going to be honest. We never really saw it work out the way it was supposed to in theory.
Yeah.
And we typically saw it lose. Wukong would always get to the point where it's extremely strong, but... So for the side of WE, their composition is pretty straightforward. they obviously all want to run in. They're going to have this Karma buffing up the Volibear and the Hecarim to get onto the carries. And I love Domo walking by, giving high fives to all his players, making sure they feel confident. But yeah, so WE having this composition that really wants to run forward. They're going to have Peel for Jiumeng in the Thresh. Even Teacherma, right, it's not just about buffing up the Volibear and the Hecarim. You can also play more of a defensive Peel role with your Aphelios to where, I mean, BLG's all pick, right? They have the Destiny coming out for the Twisted Fate. You have double global in your bot lane. So the one thing that's nice about Tahm Kench versus the Braum that I talked about is, hey, if we do see these proactive Tahm Kench plays come out where, you know, maybe you find a window in, you know, with a tempo reset, you Abyssal Voyage towards mid, you set up a play in the mid lane. You can also throw out the Enchanted Crystal Arrow in mid, and you just have a lot of ways to influence the rest of the map in BLG's comp.
So are we swapping around? Is BLG the one that have to get the game rolling, much like WE had to in game 1?
Yes, definitely, for sure. I mean, you have Nidalee, so you have this jungler that wants to be ahead, wants to invade the enemy jungle, really abuse her tempo lead from how fast she can clear. And we even look at WE's carries, right? The fact that they have an Aphelios with a Karma right next to him, you have this tanky Volibear, definitely going to do much better in the later stages of the game.
Well, seeing the Hecarim Wukong matchup once again here in the LPL. It's been a while. Again, Khan the person to bring it out first, but there are some plays here and there. Garvey from LGD in his one game did run into that matchup and then didn't win, so we never saw him again. But this time, it's going to be Morgan with an expectation to beat out Kingen. Kingen has been the better top laner so far in this series. There's only been one game, but Kingen did a hell lot more than Morgan did in game 1 as Ignite TP on the Hecarim top. And I'm sure for a lot of international viewers, it's been a while since they've seen a Hecarim top.
Yeah, it's been since the very beginning of the split for us. He's obviously a champion that's pretty decent in laning phase, not only because you take the Ignite, but even your kit, just things like your W, the little circle that heals around you, heals all the damage done in that circle, not only by you, but also, you know, by allies and things like that. Your Q also has a very interesting mechanism where you can stack it up to twice and deal some bonus damage. So
plus works on the clone there as well for the Conqueror that Hecarim's running.
Yeah, so Hecarim has a lot of, like, interesting, strong lane dynamics. The problem with Hecarim is, like, you're kind of a strong laning champion, but there's other champions that just do your job better. Like, you can't just blind pick a Hecarim is the problem. But you also don't scale too well. Hecarim is a champion that scales in context of what, like, he's playing against. Because, sure, in isolation, Hecarim actually scales really good. But obviously...
ooh, this is not meant to happen. Morgan! Solo killed by King, and thumbs up, baby.
And this is why we don't see people pick this champion anymore. Because, again, the theory's always there. Like, everyone's saying, oh, Hecarim counters Wukong. Hecarim beats Wukong. But we haven't seen it.
I mean, it was from the earlier trade with the E start from Kingen.
I mean, Wukong's level 1 is insane, right? The E, the attack speed you get, plus all your passive stacking up. Wukong is one of the only champions you can't fight in level 1. Hecarim definitely wanting to wait to get to that level 2, level 3 point. And we already highlighted, Hecarim wants to fight in the wave. That's one of the places where Hecarim really shines.
When there's no wave, when you're level 1, it becomes very, very hard. Burns the TP to come back to lane. That solo kill for Kingen going to net him a nice back to start the game off. And this is why with Morgan, we're like, oh, well, he plays Ornn. He's played 12 games of Ornn, 10 games of Renekton. After that, the champion pool jumps off, and the win rate jumps off with that as well.
And, I mean, also props to Kingen because he was a player I was extremely high on in spring. Heck, on the last hit, I remember one of the questions was, name a player you were extremely excited for that didn't show up, and mine was Kingen because this was a guy coming from KT, actually... In KT, people weren't really too high on him, didn't have the best performances, was pretty mediocre. But here in the LPL, really shined through. Also, a big terror in solo queue, so the guy has the mechanical prowess. And nice to see him get that first solo kill.
Also, he's behind another top laner that's been on this team since 2019. So if Kingen doesn't show up, ADD will come in.
Another solo queue superstar, of course. ADD has been atop the challenger ladder. Ooh.
He can teleport to traps, and with the dive at level 3, here we go. Teleport responded to. Gold card against the wall, enables the spear. Meteor picks up the kill, and Teacherma has the TP to top lane.
I love, too, that they see the TP coming out, and they know, hey, we have the damage, we have the gold card to lock down, set up the spear. Wukong jumps in as well. Doesn't matter if Teacherma comes in, we can still get this kill. And I love the Teemo emotes coming out from Kingen. The confidence.
He's flaunting it, and he's going to have another back here with an assist under his belt after pushing up the wave.
And, I mean, think about it. This is not only an interesting dynamic in you know, both of them being strong top laners for their teams. It's the fact that since both of them, you know, do come from Korea, they've played against each other in solo queue for years, I'm sure. So kind of makes you wonder kind of that dynamic of the matchup, right? Is it someone where they've run into each other in solo queue many times and, you know, they have some kind of pre-existing relationship like that?
Be cute. Meteor up in the top side, reversing the invade that was done by beishang. Seeing that Meteor was up here, but he stayed on the vertical side of the map. And I mean, Morgan's already 0-2. Why not put him behind a third time?
And I mean, Hecarim, when he falls behind, is absolutely useless. You even think about him running the Ignite, right? Ignite is a summoner where you get kill pressure in lane. You need to find a laning advantage. When you're so far behind, you're never going to find this lane advantage anymore.
Morgan's walking over a ward. Beishang's here. FoFo roaming up. Spotting out beishang. And look, Morgan's going to run towards Meteor. The spear connects. He's at least going to get pushed out. All this pressure top and no home to go to for the Hecarim.
Yeah, and we're not seeing W have any way that they can answer this play. It doesn't matter that they have this Karma pushing in the mid lane.
He's on a ward once again. Quick burst trades for Kingen. Look pretty dangerous.
Yeah, and this is the thing.
Sorry, you're ready, because beishang's coming up. Spirit of Dread used for the heal.
So he's just coming up to make sure that Morgan can get the push. Because Kingen was trying to freeze the lane there to set up these plays coming out from BLG's, you know, mid laner and jungler. But now...
Oh, he's going to waste time. He wants to go on in. He doesn't care about the wave. Instead, stops the back onto Morgan. This is the rampage to get on out. The trade again stops the back, as now the wave could be in a pretty good place, Lyric.
Yeah, gonna... Once again, poor Morgan, but instead, just going to hard shove this out. Morgan not having a fun game.
Nope. And getting tested as a top laner.
And now I wonder, WE's route back into this game is tough because now BLG constantly have this play available to them. You're going to, FoFo's going to, actually FoFo has Destiny up right now, so if you can find a window, maybe bring Nidalee into the mid lane, you know, kind of create some tempo. You can always look for a Destiny play towards top side. I don't think giving up an early dragon matters too much. If you can open up this top lane turret, you now have Kingen who can constantly look for these rolling plays and influencing the map.
It's a 2K goblin at 6 minutes in the game. I mean, it's incredible. And also, you talked about the level 6 of BLG. What it means with a lot of it online is Destiny's going to be used. Missing is going to get launched on top of here. A nice shield as Tahm Kench on XinMo is going to be absorbing a lot of the pressure. Missing only manages to get away his wings. Is standing in the front line without too much mana. Teacherma speeding up for the tether. Flashes on top. Gold card will keep him safe, but I don't think Wings knew what he was doing there.
Hysterics, there was a reason I was highlighting that, you know, BLG should probably make this topside play. Their comp still isn't the type of comp that just wants to sit in front of, you know, the 4 members of WE. Again, you have the engage coming out from the Thresh. You have an extremely tanky Volibear. You have a Karma who synergizes so well in these early skirmishes from all the AoE you provide, both in terms of peel and damage. So I feel like BLG overall just making the wrong decision.
Yes.
I mean, but I was going to say, that's obviously very clear now in retrospect, but even going into it, right, just keep the Kingen snowball going forward. Get him so far ahead, especially once he does have TP up, that he will be the defining member changing these team fights. Because these are all your advantages right now.
I was going to say, at the very least for that play, if Wings was 6, you know, maybe it's different. Maybe it's the launch down to kill Missing and then run. Or to disengage at the very least. So, a bit more gold on back for WE after being behind by 2,000. Dragon didn't go over, wasn't taken by any team, so we might likely have that play again.
Even then, I feel like BLG's comp isn't one that ever just goes to the objective first. Even when the Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out, to me it should be like, okay, you Destiny bot lane, Enchanted Crystal Arrow the bot lane, get the pick on the bot lane first, and then turn towards the Dragon.
All right.
But still, Enchanted Crystal Arrow was a good highlight. That is a tool that was going to be up for them in another wave or two. They were the ones that started the Dragon. They didn't have any reason to do that.
Especially outside this top lane when we talked heavily about the pick comp and how they need to get rolling. They've already been rolling through the top side. It's good to see BLG back on target, top side now with the Rift Herald, as Meteor starts it pretty much off spawn.
Yep, luckily this is a place where they could just go start a neutral, since obviously Kingen doesn't push the top side. Will always be able to react first. Morgan just going to be able to sit under his own turret, so good to see BLG using their pressures appropriately.
Well, for WE, that play towards the bottom side is a bit of hope, of course, because Jiumeng picks up the kill. But as Rift Herald goes down, we have to be realistic once again about a Herald being dropped top. You'd say at this point, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think it's a good call, right? It's where you're already taking turret plates, which is always, you know, a good thing to look at. Can you break down that turret early on? And we've already set up how then Kingen will have the ability to start moving around the map, maybe put some pressure in the mid lane, or you even start setting up plays where Kingen pushes in top, hovers mid, which unlocks FoFo to make a Destiny play on bot lane. So a lot of potential options if you can get Kingen out of his lane.
Teleport almost available. Okay, a bit of pushing power here from Jiumeng and missing while the dragon goes down.
Destiny's about to be up for FoFo as well. He's going to have to answer in mid first, so not going to be able to just react to any play on bot side outright.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow onto missing, and Wings game 2 so far has been mediocre.
Yes, yes. That's a good observation.
He got MVP in game 1, and I know he auto-attacked for it. No, he did. Look, he played an okay game.
I don't want to discredit him, but let's be honest. Like, let's ignore gameplay of Aphelios. Aphelios OP. Aphelios is a bad champion because you can pick range. That doesn't matter. If you pick Aphelios in LPL, you're going to get MVP. Yeah. That's like it's passive. Oh. Get MVP in LPL if you pick Aphelios. That's all.
I feel like there are a lot of elements in game 1 that came together for BLG, but anyway. I don't
you know who had a really standout Aphelios, so was Gala. Like his was not 200 years.
Like the showmanship.
Yes, like Gala was just insane.
Yeah.
Flashing forward, running forward, aggressive, it was amazing.
Even I can acknowledge that, but with ulti from beishang, diving is a real potential here for WE.
Yeah, and it looks like BLG are just going to opt into trading sides of the map, which at this point in time I feel like is the right call. Again, we're just going to keep hammering home on get top turret down.
Yeah.
Unlock Kingen on the map, let Kingen hover mid, so then we can see some 4 or 5-man plays towards the bot side.
Yeah, we're going to be put down 2 versus 1. Destiny being run. Morgan has to get out of range, runs him into the turret as gold card connects. But Morgan actually wants to turn this around. He has the onslaught of shadows as FoFo goes away, but still, the play's done. Turret goes down, gold up by 3,000 here at 11 minutes.
And look, this is BLG. BLG are going to take it slow. They're going to take time to make the right choice. They might even start to make the wrong choice. They might go towards, like that person, they're starting to pick up the cigarette. They're pulling it towards their lips. They're like, wait, this is unhealthy. They slowly put it down, walk to their fridge. They see the salad in there. They don't know if they want it, but, you know, eventually they get there. Eventually they get to that healthy
salad
choice.
Or cigarettes, a daily quarrel, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then you get those people that put the cigarettes in the salad. And you're like, well, which one are we? I don't know what we're talking about before this, but I'm kind of down the rabbit hole. It is a turret-for-turret trade in that bottom lane. WE do equalize a bit of the gold, but of course, first turret blood worth more here in League of Legends.
Let's be honest. Every BLG game's a rabbit hole. So
that's true. But Meteor is well and truly snowballed. Another element we haven't talked about this top lane going badly for WE is the fact that Meteor picked up the second blood. He's up by 30 CS over beishang. And this is definitely going to be Meteor and Kingen's game. As you can see the gold on the left. They are huge, mungus. Jiumeng, the only person contending with BLG right now.
Yeah, so obviously how Kingen can influence these team fights, especially getting on the back line and, you know, hitting those full motion ultimates, really getting down that armor shred and trying to burst out Jiumeng is what's going to really be a deciding factor for BLG. They also have a lot of, they have a lot of skill shots they need to hit right. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow, the spear coming out from Nidalee is massive because you've set up, he's one of the members that are snowballed on this team. He needs to be a big threat for damage.
Someone needs to get here. Someone stop this. While, just on your note there, sorry, we had an Aphelios moment.
I mean, you're right. I mean, someone had to get here. And, you know, even just talking about this lane setup real quick, this is a place where BLG would theoretically want to start to thrive because we talked about how it's a double global bot lane. It's now in the middle of the map.
Yep. You
now have the option and emphasis to make plays on both sides, so we need to see Wings and XinMo somehow be a factor, but I mean, I guess the fact that they've just been continuously getting bullied by this Aphelios, they're not really allowed to be a factor.
Very threatened. I mean, he walks towards them and Wings and XinMo pay the respect because it is an Infinity Edge early on here from the full turret taking Aphelios in the bottom lane who picked up plates. 2 more in the mid lane. Jiumeng, the surviving line here for WE. We talked about how they need to peel for him. He will be the carry in the later game, and how Teacherma will be buffing him up.
Exactly. So he's going to, I mean, he's a standout member for this team, right? When you look at this comp, you know it's all about Aphelios. And now it's going to be how BLG use their tools to attack him because, right, they have TF in one side of the lane, so can constantly answer with Destiny. They have a Wukong who's winning out on the other side, so constantly is push. You would expect BLG to want to use that pressure to attack Aphelios in the mid lane, and we've already highlighted this is the comp that needs to snowball. This is the comp that needs to get ahead and push the tempo, which is kind of funny because we're selling BLG as this team who
is slow.
Doesn't push the tempo.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, but they have a much different tempo than a lot of our other LPL teams.
This is a totally different comp to what we saw last game, despite them getting ahead early in game 1 as well. And turret plating is the trade here you see on your screen, but we're gearing up for Dragon now with a fed Wukong, who's had a great time in lane. BLG want in.
Yeah, but all of... Ooh.
Gage burst here from WE, ultimate from the Volibear. XinMo, that ult was bad from Wings, while beishang is running away. Kingen's clone quite low, but here comes Onslaught of Shadows. Pony hungry for some monkey. Morgan will help get the kill over to Teacherma, and for BLG, that was absolutely atrocious. Lyric?
It made no sense. We've already talked about how, one, their comp is a pick comp, and even with taking team fights, we're like, hey, Kingen needs some kind of flank, you need to get on the back line. You don't just walk blindly into River and hope for the best.
Wings is having the worst game so far at the split.
That was even just a terrible shot calling decision, right?
True.
I mean, I guess XinMo was the one who walked forward first into the brush, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the call was on that. I don't really understand the decision making on it.
You know what? Look, I don't like speaking bad about players. I think everyone has a thought in their mind.
I mean, you're not even saying Wings is bad. You're saying Wings is having a bad game.
Absolutely. I think Wings has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Let's watch again, though, because...
Oh, it's wrong. It was Kingen who face-checked the brush. But yeah, they face-checked the brush, not to interrupt you, but
no, you're right.
This is not how their comp really wants to take these fights. Gives enough time for Morgan to get here. We see how much of a big tanky threat that beishang even is. Sets up for Jiumeng to dish out all this damage, and even Teacherma peeling for everyone with his shields.
Let's go.
And right, like this was not Wings' fault. This was just BLG making a bad decision.
Yep. At the end of the day, gold should not be where it is, I feel.
No, and oh, actually, yeah. That's pretty surprising.
After that dominance top after the 0-2 start for Morgan, everything stabilized, and he actually came into that fight. He was a crucial aspect. Onslaught of Shadows is a pain because of the fear and its AoE ability, so adding something to the side of WE, who eventually will be able to continue running down the side of BLG.
And look, this game's not over by any means. BLG has chances to play out this game, especially by the fact that they have double global against only one TP on the side of WE. So, you know, maybe we see some crazy Rogue Warriors that shenanigans from earlier where you can play out through side lanes. I think it's going to be quite tough, but BLG have pick potential. BLG have a way to win this game. But I definitely favor what WE have in this game state going forward.
They're running forward. They just stole Herald. Thank you so much for the leashes. And across the arrow, the pick start here, but it's turning into a team fight. Teacherma flashes away. Meteor on the side, trying to poke around again. Wings running forward with limited mana. Missing is the target, who flashes too. Meteor prepared to go forward, but slowed down by the Sky Splitter, as FoFo can't reach for the gold card. Low health bars for WE, but they got what they stole for.
Yeah, so ultimately, doesn't feel too bad for the side of WE. I don't think BLG have the tools to siege on the turret. Well, okay, we are just shown they obviously don't. Now WE can just look for some resets. And I mean, definitely going to want to use that Herald to try to break open the mid lane turret at some point.
Jiumeng, this is alright. I'll push this once again. And with that Herald in hand, beishang has an avenue of lanes he might look towards.
He does have two of them. I wouldn't expect him to open up the inner bot side turret.
Sure.
Would elongate that lane, but I mean, with how far behind Morgan is, okay, well, they're just going to drop it mid, which is what we just said we wanted to see, so WE, oh!
We'll actually go for inner.
Oh, it's actually not even probably going to get a charge off, honestly.
Nope. Full minion wave there, so surprised WE didn't just keep going. I guess it would have been difficult.
Bit of a misplay, honestly, with not reading that well. It was Missing's, what's that rune called again?
Which one? Unsealed Spellbook?
No, where you take the turret.
Demolish?
There we go.
Hey, okay.
You know names.
Okay. So now what? Because this game so far, we set out pretty decent win conditions. And we talked about what W want to do. They are running towards a 2-item Aphelios on Summoner's Rift with the buffs from Teacherma available in the Arden, in the Athenes. It seems like the avenue is pretty clear.
Exactly. So this would be something where if Morgan was ahead, you'd have different choices where you could just have beishang and Morgan consistently attacking a side. But for the fact that Morgan's behind, I feel like you're just really consistently waiting for Dragons to come up and playing for Jiumeng. So it's always going to be about the 5v5. You're never playing through sides. You're always getting pressure through mid. For BLG, it's the opposite. It's for looking plays like this. It's for sending, you know, FoFo and Kingen to the same side, sending FoFo and Meteor to the same side, trying to find a potential pick. You could even, I'd even say, with how the comps are right now, you're probably have to give up something somewhere. So even giving up a mid chip damage and a mid wave to send, you know, Wings and XinMo to find a pick on top side with Kingen could be potentially worth, because you're quickly getting to the point in the game where you're going to get outpaced by WE's comp, and you just really need to find some way to push the game forward, you know, to get more than what you're going to lose.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
In proactivity from BLG, right? What we saw in the early parts of the game. Meteor leading the charge, who still has that CS lead in the jungle, has the Zhonya's Hourglass, as Dragons up in 15 seconds. And crucial to talk about items at this point, because for BLG towards the 2, that extra damage to find that pick. We saw Missing survive on minimal bits of health both times that these fights came across. WE have the position in River. Kingen with the flank could be potential for BLG.
And that's what they're going to need, right? We're going to need to see Kingen be able to get on the back line. But even at this point, I'm actually not sure if that's enough, because you do have the peel coming out from the Thresh. You have the shielding coming out from Teacherma. Without a pick, it just feels pretty hopeless.
Kingen not even in yet. Death Sentence connects again from Missing. That just stops it. Dragon secured. Salt point. Meteor jumped in for the steal. He's cornered down, but ready for the pounce, as he won't need to use it. WE get out safely, and the game goes on more and more in their favor.
And WE playing the slow, patient game. And so me and Munchables have talked about this a bit on cast, that this is one of the evolutions we've seen for WE. But the sad thing is, it's only with the Karma, is when they do play this style that's heavily around Jiumeng. Actually, it's not even just the Karma. I feel like they need Karma and Aphelios. So Karma with a late game AD carry, and it's the only time they ever play this more scaling, you know, defensive, peel-oriented, protect the AD carry style comp.
Which looks more controlled. Destiny being used though versus 3 in the bottom side. They're going for Morgan, but beishang for the counter gang on top of the turret. Kingen will survive and run away. The proactivity we're talking about in front of us as FoFo takes a big chunk, uses heal to get away, and Cheddar Arrow misses, but this time you can see the direction as TP following suit. Wings is behind them, Teacherma running in, it's onto FoFo who goes golden. Amongst 3, WE grouped up is so good. And Kingen just trying to escape, takes the blast cone. It's monkey business here from the top laner, who eventually drops down as XinMo, left without a hope and a prayer. He flashes away from Teacherma, who would have helped secure the kill, and WE fighting back after the dive bot.
I mean, ultimately, I feel like that's actually extremely good for BLG. They could have lost out on so much more in that exchange. We see right now the Colonel heavily favoring WE going into the rest of the game, and I mean, that play to me on bot side turret just looked like desperation, not in the sense that, like, it's really the only play that's left, like we talked about, right? They need to go for things like that. They need to be willing to risk, be willing to give and lose out, to find kills, to find picks, to move forward. They go for it here. They execute it about as well as they could, right? They find the CC, they find the damage. They're just at a point where, hey, the rest of WE can roam over. Sad the Ashe arrow misses as well, but I'm actually really surprised only Kingen ends up going down here.
Yeah. As you said, could have been a lot worse. How'd FoFo get out? Eaten into the mouth of XinMo.
Yep, so
and
overall, that's the positive of the Tahm Kench, right? Yep. But I feel like the positive of Tahm Kench shouldn't be, you know, like saving you on fights that you're going to lose regardless.
So we're to a point where Baron's up now. Soul Point's coming up in 2 minutes 30. And BLG will have to stop that. But at this point, they need a pick before that objective.
Look, I'm not saying they need to pray and hope for a miracle, but
they
they definitely need to hope for, you know, some kind of nicely wrapped Christmas present over from WE.
It's so crazy after what this early game was. And that fight around Dragon makes everything go wrong for BLG. But okay, nice.
But this is also why the community as a whole, a lot of prominent figures in the community criticize these types of drafts where you need to get ahead, you need to push the tempo, you need to accelerate, because it definitely is that one misstep makes it extremely hard to move the game forward.
And then you go against these compositions like with the Karma and Aphelios that WE feel like they're pretty contained in. And they just push down a turret like that, head towards Baron to threaten, and set up for a pick this time themselves. Jiumeng is frontlining, and Channel Across the Arrow is onto beishang. BLG want the damage as teleport will be committed as well, dodges away. Kingen hasn't had a big ulti yet, we're still waiting for that one.
I like that you highlighted that Jiumeng was frontlining and walking forward aggressively, because this is one of the things that makes Jiumeng a standout player in my mind, in the sense that it's what we criticize him for, because he also does get picked off a lot. Not as much anymore, but definitely in spring. But it's also what sets him apart, that when you have these comps built around him, or when you had WE heavily playing for him in spring, it lets him walk forward because he's always so far ahead. In this case, he has all the shields. He has the disengage with the Lantern from Thresh. He has all the protection coming out from Teacherma. So that's when it's great to have an AD carry who's willing to, you know, walk forward and deal as much DPS as possible.
He's definitely on that, like, that Uzi spectrum in the distant future. You know, maybe 3 to 5 years when we see him develop and hit that legendary status. There's never going to be a player like Uzi, but you know what I mean. The ability to carry.
The willingness to carry,
yes,
I guess is the way to put it.
Kind of like Gala has at the moment. Is on to missing. That's a pick over to BLG, but now they have to get on out. It's 4 versus 5 in front of the Dragon.
That was the most anticlimactic pick I've ever seen, and it was more that WE just picked themselves off.
Yes, they did. And now with the teleport, 4 versus 5, Morgan's in, sets up King, and they're in a choke. Morgan didn't really do anything. Ult on the spot for beishang, who only just survives as Jiumeng, never mind. Yep. There you go. All turns in a flash from BLG.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved it. They send Missing in to die. They give BLG the false hope. They get the soul. Now, guess what? We're going to game 3.
We're going to game 3.
Why do you sound so disappointed?
I'm not disappointed. I just saw Aphelios. I'm ready for the replay.
He's a 3-item Aphelios.
He is. He's fed.
Everyone is super behind him. Actually, not really. Gold's actually even.
We talked about how squishy they are. And Morgan, not enough damage here from FoFo. On to the Baron, though.
Just do the Baron. Just force it.
And
give us some blood.
If BLG check this, they'll die. And you know what? XinMo's hooked in, and he will die first. Chat across the arrow is a little bit too late. Teacherma picks up the kill. And game 3 on the horizon. For sure.
Yeah.
Unless WE absolutely throw it.
And I mean, this was Missing looking for Vision very aggressively. They were even the ones looking for a pick at first, so it very much was a misplay by WE. And I mean, let's just keep our eyes on Jiumeng, see how this happens. Okay, we see good ult from Kingen, kind of like he at least gets in there, but Jiumeng.
Ult?
Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
But he's fed.
Yeah, but he's fed. So it's acceptable.
And the comp's built around him.
Yes, it is.
And he's got a GA now. So I guess I wasn't expecting that because I just thought
51.8% of the damage.
Holy that's yeah, wow. 52% of the team's damage.
Hey, your reaction says it all.
Oh my lord.
And we even have Teacherma going towards a death cap next. I love it.
Yep. Build the AP, give him more. Well, now we wait for WE to group again. They've got Infernal. They've left Morgan in the side lane. BLG have to respond to this, but WE are coming in red hot.
Look, Hysterics. Any turret they group in front of is theirs. Any member of BLG they group in front of is theirs. Anywhere they go is now is their territory, it's their domain. They own it.
Getting them. Okay.
See? I would be interested to see how much percent the Colonel gives them. Because I'm leaning in on a solid, like...
I don't think he's coming up again, though.
0.1.
Yeah? A 99% win for WE?
99.9% win for the side of WE.
All right. Rabadon's picked up here for the Karma.
But I don't want to see Morgan play any more Hecarim.
Nope.
Not again.
It does feel like the rest of the map pulled this forward. But then again, BLG with the lead decided to team fight. I know we can diagnose this a little bit later.
Yeah.
But it's one of those games where it feels like BLG was showing us that consistency we saw in game 1 with the cleanliness, right? Where they knew that they knew what their game plan was. And then WE apparently knew it better.
I mean, this comp's also very different from last game, where since they didn't get the Aphelios this time around, right? They didn't have that scaling element that really set it apart, because that was the thing that did set it apart, and obviously the Kale as well, but still, this time BLG going for this composition that needs to snowball.
And FoFo going to be eaten up, but I think XinMo might die for his cause. This is a 4.5 item Aphelios that will not lose this game, no matter how hard anyone tries. He gets poked out, but you know what? With Hecarim and healing, he's back.
Does the game end on this push?
Yes, it does.
Huh.
4 versus 5 with Baron buff. Why would you do anything else as WE?
That's true. WE gonna take the W.
I mean, it's over. Walk it in.
Well, oh, wow, actually.
Kingen on the flank, but you know what? Morgan going down. Morgan didn't do anything anyway.
Don't play Hecarim anymore, Morgan, please. You're a good top laner.
You know what? Him dying was beneficial for WE this game, I think.
I think so, too.
As Jiumeng heading forward with Infernum Severum. Glad that's gone, but the Infernum is still there. Now with Calibrum and Infernal Soul. FoFo with Gold Card. Do you think he cares? You think Jiumeng cares? This dude's in the gym, and he's dropping weight. He doesn't care. He's disrespectful. Forward with the AoE. Jiumeng wearing that shirt that says absolutely shredded or something. He's the gym junkie this game. They can't end because there's no minion wave, or maybe they got bored. They want to go to something else. Disrespectful. I don't like those people at the gym.
Me either, actually. I mean, I know that because we need to go to the gym together.
Yeah,
but,
we do. You wouldn't see it from me, but I do. That's right. I do go to the gym.
Oh, jeez. Are you trying to, like, advertise yourself?
I really don't. I really don't.
You know, Rusty, he's just saying, you're looking for a gym buddy. Hysteric's got you.
Hey, you know what? If Rusty returns next year,
oh, God.
Then the 3 of us could go to the gym.
You're giving people false hope. Or if me and you go to OPL.
Hey, okay. All right. I don't know if that's false. I don't know if people want us to the
There actually are a lot of different possibilities. What if all 3 of us end up casting the greatest league in the world?
PCS?
NALCS.
Oh, okay. Why do you put NA in front of it? I think people just know the LCS. You're living in the past.
Oh, I am living in the past.
The EU LCS?
It's the boomer. You know, I still call it that all the time. All the time. Which sucks because obviously the LEC branding is amazing. I love it.
Oh, it was a really nice rebrand.
But it just did, because I think when I watched a lot of EU, it was back in like season 4, like, you know, Millennium, Super Hot Crew.
Oh my god.
All those days. Those were fun days. Alliance winning.
Yeah. As you want to speak about winning, that is just a clone. And WE don't care. They've got everything. Elder's up, but I think this game could end before then. Morgan with ulti. All he has to do is run forward with the shield. He can do that. Ult dive, thanks to beishang. And Stormbringer for WE is bringing us a game number 3. As Kingen, bit of damage coming through. BLG are defending. beishang flashes away, but we got to remember there's one person you have to kill, and his shield is so large. As the hook in onto XinMo forces the flash, and Jiumeng heading forward. Lyric, this is just going to be done. He's got Severum in front of him.
He just has to walk forward. He can base take this.
Kingen, I don't think you kill him. He's going to walk back anyway, even though I don't think he had to. Just rely on Teacherma. Okay, Morgan onto Meteor, who tried to kill the horse.
Morgan surprising. No, actually, Morgan engaged. Morgan surprisingly does some damage.
He does. 2-item horse ears. This one, done and dusted for a while now, and finally WE will walk towards the inhibitor. And walk towards the Nexus, I should say. Morgan rolls in for the last bit. Game 3 on the horizon.
Who was your first favorite team in League of Legends?